Okay, today you're going to learn how, if you're a fairly young guy or woman, you're going to learn how to be a multimillionaire before you're 30. In other words, in about 10 years. This is not a get rich quick scheme, but it's about how to become wealthy in real estate. Now, my own story is that in my early 20s, I came across a book by a guy called Nickerson. And the title of the book was something like How I Made $1 million Doing Something Part Time While I Was Working for the Telephone Company. Well, that's a pretty long title, but I was curious. And I do remember that the opening paragraph said something that later turned out to be true. It said that more personal fortunes have been made through real estate investments than all industrial fortunes ever made, not ever made, made combined. So, in other words, while you'll never be, well, who knows, you might be a billionaire like Warren Buffett from real estate, but the odds of you becoming Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, or the Amazon guy, they're kind of small, one in 100 million. But in real estate, almost everybody that goes into investments and does it intelligently ends up a multimillionaire. So I'm going to tell you kind of my story, which is my career was based in the beginning on this Nickerson book. And the secret, if you want to call it a secret, is unbelievably simple. He said, look at a lot of properties, make low offers on all of them. And even though you will only get maybe 3 out of 100, and if you do 3 a month, you'll have a lot of property. And if you have a lot of property, um, real estate that is, usually income property, houses, can be apartments. But if you have quite a bit of it and it's fully mortgaged, you will you can't miss but become rich unless you make the mistake of buying in a declining area. Now, what's a declining area? Well, uh, I used to live in a place, well, Detroit would be in America. The jobs just left. The car industry isn't what it used to be, and the jobs left, and the people left. They couldn't. They had to go places where there were jobs. But it so happens that I had a girlfriend in a place called Biella, Italy. And when I was there, oh, maybe 30 years ago, it was a very prosperous place. And homes and property were, well, just as expensive as anywhere else in Italy. But today, the prices in Biella are maybe 500 euros per square meter, which means for a 100 square meter, nice size apartment, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom apartment, 50 times 100 is what? Is that 50,000? Yeah. So 50,000. While the same place, the same exact building in the French Riviera or even the Italian seacoast might be 1 million. So you're talking about a 95% discount in a pretty nice town, which obviously would have been a mistake to buy there 50 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 20 years ago. What happened in Biella? Well, very simple. Biella was a town that made textile products, both wholesale and retail. The the Chinese ate their lunch, and most of the businesses in Biella shut down, and people had to move, just like in Detroit. And so now there are lots of vacant places. So if you happen to have uh, a stash of cash and you want to buy a very nice mansion for 90% less than most other places in Europe, you can go to Biella, Italy. And if you want to find out more about that place that I know very well, just ask me. In the comments below, you can say I'd like to find out more about anything you've talked about today, and I'll be glad to contact you personally. Hey, how about that? What an offer! I used to charge a lot of money for being a consultant, but now I'm retired and a little bit lonely. So if you have any questions, let me know. Now look, because of this Nickerson book, how to look at property and make low offers, and make no money down deals, I had about $30 million in assets before I was age 30. Now, if you take the necessary extra zero to get today's money, that would be about 300 million. Was I worth 300 million? No. I probably had 90% of that 30 million was debt. In other words, I owed money. But here is what people not in the business don't know. The rate on mortgages is usually very close to the inflation rate. So if you borrow money over time, the debt gets smaller, while the property, if it's well chosen in a good location, is more valuable. And so if you were to buy 30 million worth of property anywhere in 20 or 30 years, the mortgages would be paid off, because mortgages usually are maximum of 25 or 30 years. And then you would own that $30 million worth of assets. But guess what? You have to add an extra zero, because the property values have gone up while the mortgage stays the same. So a leveraged or mortgaged piece of income property doesn't make you the 6 or 8% a year that property goes up in value. It makes you much more on your investment. Why? Because the loan stays the same in dollars or euros, but the property value goes up. So your return on investment in real estate could be anywhere from 100% to 10,000% a year. And the smaller your down payment, the better. Now here I got a little juicy secret only for my viewers. The juicy secret is something I call a contract of sale. Now, depending on the country you're in and where you are, the rule may be a lot different. Ooh, got a big mosquito. Okay, here's the story. Many people have loans on their property at crazy low rates, like 1 or 2%. But the contract that they made with their lender, the bank or insurance company, usually says if the property is sold, the loan is due in full. So a lot of people think, oh, I can never take advantage of that mortgage obtained by somebody else. Not true. You structure the deal as what in America is called a contract of sale. Now here is what in other countries it may have a different name, but here's how you do it, how you buy property and keep the existing very low rate mortgage. Okay, the guy across from me, Mr. X, owns a home, and we're just for round numbers, we'll say it's worth $120,000, and he has $100,000 2% mortgage on it, and he's decided he wants to move, or he's got a divorce, or his heirs have it. So how do I, a buyer, outside buyer, get to keep that loan? I make a piece of paper where I physically take over the property and agree that I will keep paying the loan. And you can call me a tenant, or you can call me the holder of an option to buy it at $120,000. But you structure the deal so you don't bring that mortgage to a closure. Now, I'm going to wind up here because we're getting near the end of my 10-minute time limit. But taxes are very important. And real estate can be very good because in many countries you get depreciation, or if you buy another property when you sell, there's no capital gains tax. So you have to research the tax rules in your particular country. Another rule in America is the so-called Starker rule. If you buy a similar property when you sell, there's no tax on the capital gain. And so what you do is you buy a more expensive property with a bigger loan, and you keep trading up, and eventually you have your real estate empire. Another thing to watch out for is no recourse. Well, not to watch out for, to go for, is no recourse loans. So in the deal I just told you about, when you take over a property that has already got a loan on it, you never signed that you would be personally liable on it. And so if you want to totally avoid risk and personal liability, all you do is buy property with existing loans, maybe get an additional loan from the seller, and let the tenant bring in money, pay you money to pay off the loan, and you wait 25 years. If you're 25, by the time you're 50, the property is free and clear. And if on the way there, the opportunity to refinance occurs, well, of course, you can pay off the old loan, and maybe we'll see 1% or 2% loans again. So anyway, this is like a real basic introduction to how to get rich in real estate. And if there's a lot of comments and a lot of interest, I may give you some more. But there's one other thing. I wrote a book on the subject. Hey, I wrote a book, and I'll tell you what, I'll send you that book absolutely free. And if it's worth something to you, and if you become a millionaire, send me $100. How's that for an offer? Free book, do what I say, and in a few years, if you made a lot of money, send me a tiny itsy percent of it. No. Have you had a better offer than that today? Okay, that's the end of my presentation on how to get rich in real estate, and I'll see you tomorrow.